Hey, it seems the gloom situation is worsening on the Terminid side. I'll also point out a key detail about the Grenadier battlement you should steer clear of, along with some lesser known facts you might find interesting. Plus, I've got even more to cover. If you find any part of this video helpful, please consider hitting the like and subscribe button with notifications on if you haven't already. Alright Helldivers, I broke down what the Grenadier battlement is all about in the previous video, but now I'd like to point out something you should avoid when using this new stratagem. If you deploy the Grenadier battlement and you're behind it firing the grenade launcher, be cautious. Anything that destroys the barricade will cause it to explode and take you out too. I didn't realize this until it happened to me just recently. While we're on the topic, I noticed a lot of comments on yesterday's video where most of you Helldivers commented that you're not happy with the new stratagem. Personally, I like it, but I do agree with some of your feedback. The developers should either turn it into a barricade where we can mount our own weapons or equip it with something more useful, like a heavy machine gun with heavy armor penetration, or maybe a different weapon altogether. So yeah, I think it has its purpose as is, but I agree it could use some tweaks. I wouldn't mind seeing the changes I just mentioned either. What do y'all think they should do with the Grenadier battlement? Should they delay its release to tweak it based on the community's feedback, or something else? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Moving on to some interesting details. I don't think many of you know about this one quirk with the anti-personal minefield. These landmines don't just blow up when you step on them like the Automaton ones do. Check this out. I've dropped the stratagem and the landmines are all over the place. Now, I'll call down a jump pack. If I step on a landmine, nothing happens unless I step off. But if I drop the jump pack or any stratagem you can drop, the mines won't go off. Here's the interesting part. When I pick up the jump pack, it'll blow up. Yeah, so that's interesting. Honestly, I think the developers nailed it with these landmines, and yeah, if you didn't know that, then there you go. Oh, and since I brought up the Automaton landmines, I want to show a trick I covered in a past video. I'm only bringing it up again for anyone who hasn't seen it, and because it fits with the details I'm going over here. What I'm about to show you is how to shut down any Automaton landmines. Basically, if you spot one of their landmines on one of the biomes and toss a throw knife over it, it'll disable it. You can do this over and over. I know a lot of you don't mess with throwing knives, but it's still a neat trick if you ever decide to give it a shot. Now there's one more thing I'd like to show you. First off, this isn't some huge detail or anything special, but it'll glitch your character out so you can bunny hop or kangaroo walk, basically. Anyway, what you'll need is the new hover pack stratagem from the Borderline Justice Warbond. Once it's equipped, here's what you'll do. Fly up in the air, and then right as you start coming down, unequip the jump pack like this. It'll glitch your Helldiver in doing this weird walk. Yeah, it's a strange bug. I figured it was worth mentioning because it looks absolutely ridiculous. With the details and that bug out of the way, let's check out the developers' latest known issue list. They've added a new bug connected to the Illuminate Warp ships. If we head over to the Helldivers 2 support site, they've got a full list of issues. You can see it was updated 3 hours ago as of recording this video. And down towards the bottom, there's a new issue. The Helldivers team wrote, Illuminate missions may stop spawning enemies if dropships are destroyed before deploying their enemies. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if some of you have already run into this bug in game. If not, well, there you go. That info should come in handy since the developers are aware of it. I'd bet they'll probably fix it in the next hotfix patch or a future update. As for the rest of the bugs on the list, I've covered them in another video, like issues with the armor not showing up right, the pre-charge bug with the quasar cannon, and so on. You can check out the full bug list here, and I'll leave the links down below underneath the sources. Also, the support team explained what happens when you block a player. They mentioned that blocked players can still join your games, but they said it's a rare occurrence. We've got a post right here on the Helldivers 2 support site where they wrote, the following effects take place when you block a player via the in-game social menu. We record the fact that you have blocked the player in our servers. The blocked players cannot directly join any sessions you are hosting, and vice versa. The blocked player cannot matchmake into any sessions you are hosting, and vice versa. You will not hear or see any voice or text chat from the blocked player. In rare instances, it is possible for you and the blocked player to matchmake or directly join a lobby. that another player is hosting. In this situation, you will both be present in the same lobby. Yeah, if you were wondering what happens when you block a player in game, that's the deal. But like I said, there are some cases where a blocked player might still slip into your game. I didn't see anything whether they're planning to fix that issue, but at least they've given us a heads up on what's happening. Next up, we've got a situation heating up with the Terminids and their gloom. You can see here how they've taken over the top left corner planet called Socorro. It's officially blocked off. We can no longer travel there. Turns out a player actually managed to land on Socorro, and it changed a ton. There's a Helldiver named WeLikeIke_93 who posted this screenshot after dropping onto Socorro. This guy pointed out how different it looks now. That's cool to know, right? I'm sure we'll be diving onto that planet ourselves soon enough. That said, we've got a lot to worry about right now. The Automatons are pushing towards Malevelon Creek, the Illuminate are invading planets like they always do, and they're also using dark energy to shove the Singularity closer to Super Earth while blasting any planets in its path. On top of that, the Terminids are trying to smother more planets with their gloom. At least that's what it looks like, even though the gloom hasn't officially covered Socorro yet. But yeah, things aren't looking too hot with all this going on. I can't help but wonder if we'll manage to stop it all before it gets even worse. With that all being said, there's some good news. So far, we're winning the latest major order, as you can see here. Speaking of major orders, should the developers shake up how they handle them? We're always stuck defending planets or wiping out a set number of enemies. Maybe they should hit us with a major order that involves knocking out a bunch of sub-objectives, like taking out a certain number of convoys or just sub-objectives in general. I'm bringing this up because I've seen some of you in the comments saying these new major orders are getting stale. I think my idea is solid and could switch things up quite a bit. If you've got any ideas on how to spice up these major orders to make them more interesting, I'd love to hear them. What we have next is a response from Pilestedt, the CCO of Arrowhead, and he actually responded to a player that basically said, don't blame the developers because of failed major orders, because you guys remember the one we failed recently about 2 weeks ago or a week ago? Well, here's what Pilestedt said in response. Everyone is allowed to play the game the way they want. Remember that part of Helldivers is asking the question about how a community democratically plays together. I appreciate OP's POV. I don't think blame should go to the team. They issue challenges and the community decides together if they want to pursue them. Sure, MO structures can be more fun and involved, but these are improvements that we'll do over time. For now, enjoy the game and enjoy the history that's developing. Yeah, for sure. It's not like you can get everyone on the same page, whether it's like, hey, let's pull off a gambit on this planet, or hey, everyone needs to head over here. It's complicated. Not everyone's going to be on the same page, and sure, some of you Helldivers just want to play it the way you want to, and that's absolutely fine. Last but not least, in today's video, we have the top 3 comments. If you Helldivers would like to be featured in the video, all you have to do is comment down below. The first top comment comes from Yaz Flute. Essentially, you said right here, the grenade emplacement will never get used outside the first week because it cannot take down some of the bigger threats like the harvesters, and that these bug pouncers will just jump right over it and take you out. And that's a fair point. And you even mentioned that about the chargers as well. So I don't know. What do you all think? Do you think he's right? I mean, to some degree, I think so, because it is hard to use the grenade emplacement to blow up bigger enemies. I mean, you cannot use the grenade to just take out a harvester easily or a charger. The second top comment comes from Callum. Still waiting on a stealth Warbond. Hope we get one in the near future. Maybe it could have a cloak shield turning you invisible for a few seconds. That's be cool. Yes, indeed, my friend. I think that would be an excellent idea. And I mentioned, silencers and explosives. I know someone on this channel actually recommended or suggested the developers should add a C4 so that way we can quietly go into some areas, plant it, and then let it blow up. I think that's a great idea as well as yours. Last but not least, we have right side up 6304. That sharp fall should go IMO. Yes, it's an emplacement, but with much less range and being forced to stay still, you'll be overwhelmed in moments. If they made it so that the grenade behaves much like the normal GL, it would be much better. Yes, it would be. That way you can actually take things out from further distances like you mentioned. So you're not limited to a certain, distance, really. Anyways, hope you guys have enjoyed the video. If you have, join my Discord down below. Let's talk about some things on there. We have almost 5,000 members. I appreciate all the support from you guys that are subscribed, when you comment and all that good stuff, and I appreciate everyone that's a member. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.